If you've just started playing Nightreign, there's a good chance you're not sure where to go next. You know the goal is to survive for 3 days, but the map is filled with icons that don't really explain themselves. In this video, I'll break down what each major map icon means so you can move through Limveld with confidence and take down the Night Lord more efficiently. Let's start with the easier ones first. Churches usually don't have enemies inside, maybe a rat or two, but nothing major. What you're really here for is the altar, and interacting with it gives you a permanent extra flask charge. You start with 3 flask charges by default, but you'll want at least 5 or 6 before day 3. Those extra flasks could be the difference between a failed run and a successful one. This is easily one of the highest priority icons to look for, especially early on. Sites of Grace are your main checkpoints in the game. They fully restore your HP, FP, remove any status effects, and refill your sacred flasks. This is also where you spend runes to level up, though you'll need to interact with the site first to unlock that option. If you get knocked out and your teammate can't revive you, you'll respawn at the nearest site of Grace you've activated. They're scattered across the map, and new ones often appear after boss fights. So make sure to approach everyone you find to heal and unlock it as a respawn point. Townships are small, abandoned villages with no enemies, just a merchant and an anvil for weapon upgrades. The merchants here are worth visiting since they usually carry smithing stones, consumables, and a few pieces of gear that might be useful for your character. If you're playing solo, they also sell Wending Grace, which lets you revive once after a defeat. Great churches are large, crumbling places of worship that often contain a low to mid-tier boss. You'll find several chests here, some hidden behind altars, which can occasionally drop Stonesword keys, which you can then use to open Evergaol arenas. Some versions of this landmark have a hole in the floor that leads to an underground passage, where you'll find the boss. Sacred seals can also be found in the lower levels, often from a weapon rack, making this a key location for characters like Revenant or Recluse. Forts are marked with a small fortress icon, solid walls, and a blocky stone-built shape. These are enemy outposts packed with soldiers and usually contain at least one boss, either on the lower or upper level, or both. On the top floor, there's usually a side room with a chest, a weapon rack holding a stave, and a note that reveals hidden items nearby. There are usually a few chests and crates as well, but the loot is oftentimes underwhelming. However, the chest at upper levels could sometimes drop Stonesword keys which you can use to open Evergaol. Evergaols are sealed arenas that hold powerful mini-bosses, and to open one, you'll need a Stonesword key. Stonesword keys can be bought from merchants or found in chests across encampments, forts, or great churches. The boss isn't revealed until you break the seal, and the fight can be tough, depending on which boss shows up. Once defeated, you'll earn a big chunk of runes and usually get to choose between the rune or a permanent buff. A site of Grace will also appear in the center of the Evergaol after the fight, turning it into a permanent checkpoint. Main encampments are large, layered camps usually filled with humanoid soldiers and tents. They typically contain a boss encounter split into 2 or 3 parts. Each mini-boss is located somewhere in the camp, and you'll need to track them down to deplete a shared health bar. In some cases though, only one boss needs to be defeated to clear the encampment. Chests and loot are scattered around the area, often near tents, and some encampments even have a merchant. In some matches, you might also run into flame chariots, which can be easily taken down with an aerial finisher if you jump on them. Ruins are crumbled settlements filled with enemies, and similar to main encampments, each one includes a mini-boss encounter often spread across multiple rooms or parts of the map. There's also a basement or underground chamber where most of the loot is stored, usually a mix of chests and gear tied to the ruins theme. Some of the items can be worthwhile, but if your party's strong enough to clear bosses quickly, it's often better to skip the looting and move on to the next location. Invaders are powerful NPC enemies that mimic Nightfarers, and they don't just look like players, they fight like them too, complete with starting weapons and skills. You'll know an invasion is active when a point of interest is covered by a dark blue circle. Entering the area will trigger the Invader encounter, and in some cases, you'll have to deal with both the Invader and the area's mini-boss at once. If you win, you'll get lots of runes and the Invader's starting weapon, already upgraded to purple rarity. These fights are risky, but the rewards can give you a serious edge heading into the final day. Field bosses are some of the toughest enemies you'll run into while exploring. They're usually much stronger than your average boss, so they're not something you want to rush into. These include enemies like dragons, carrion knights, magma worms, deathrite birds, and tree sentinels, and the rewards are usually worth the risk. Defeating one rewards you with high rarity weapons or permanent stat buffs that can strengthen your character significantly. It's best to take down as many of these great enemies as you can, as they're one of the best sources of powerful weapons and effects in the entire expedition. However, unless your team could take them down fast enough, it's usually better to wait until day 2 before challenging them. Castles are massive, multi-level complexes packed with tough enemies and multiple bosses. They're some of the most dangerous locations in Nightreign and are best tackled mid to late game, once you're geared enough to survive the battles. Inside, you'll find a mix of mini-bosses, patrols, and loot chests, some of which can contain talismans, stone sword keys, or upgrade materials. At the top, you'll usually encounter a great enemy, basically a field boss tier fight, and not an easy one to deal with. If you clear the boss from the basement floor, you can also get some talisman as well. These areas can be long and punishing, but if you're ready, the rewards are well worth it. Tunnel entrances lead to underground mines where you can farm materials used to upgrade your weapons. There are quite a lot of monsters inside, but it's usually best to ignore them and head straight for the boss to save time. Depending on your playthrough, you might get a smaller or a larger mine with a spirit stream inside. In the smaller mines, the boss room may also contain a chest that can drop bluesmithing stones or a weapon with a useful passive for your class. They're one of the most reliable places to gather upgrade materials in the game, so it's worth clearing them out if you have a weapon you plan to stick with. Sorcerer's Rise is marked by tall towers that usually have a sealed door out front. To get inside, you'll need to find something unusual nearby, like a glowing sigil or a strange tree trunk, and hit it. At the base floor, you are guaranteed to find some FP potions from the crates. There's no ladder inside, so you'll need to climb your way up using the crystals and ledges as platforms. And once you're at the top, you'll get to pick a reward, and it's usually magic-related weapons or talisman. That makes Sorcerer's Rise especially worth it for characters like Recluse or Revenant. The Spirit Stream icon looks like a glowing blue vortex rising from a rocky base. You can ride the torrent by pressing the spacebar, and it'll launch you high into the air. You can use this to scale cliffs or reach otherwise inaccessible areas. And while airborne, you can steer your direction by turning or using the movement stick mid-air. Spectral hawk trees are marked on the map with a twisted tree-shaped icon that resembles a bird with wings outstretched. When you interact with one, the Spectral hawk swoops down, picks you up, and carries you along a preset flight path, usually leading to another region or landmark. You can manually disembark at any point during the flight, but you can't control where the hawk will take you if you stay on. If you open your map, you'll see spiraling cloud trails. Those mark the path the hawk will fly. It's the closest thing to fast travel in Nightreign, but since the route is fixed, it's best used when you plan to visit a couple of other landmarks on the other side of the map. The objectives icon is marked by a bronze-colored emblem. It only appears under specific conditions, usually when you or a teammate has an active remembrance quest. This marker shows the location of the current objective tied to that quest, so if it pops up, it's worth checking out. Scarab icons mark the location of special enemies that drop talismans when defeated. They won't appear on the map right away, and you'll need to find and interact with a map, usually located in a fort, to reveal them. Talismans offer passive buffs that can improve your damage, survivability, or utility, so hunting scarabs is almost always worth it. Buried treasure icons mark hidden chests that can contain rare weapons, talismans, or other high-value loot. You won't see them by default, and they're only revealed after interacting with a map, usually found in a fort. If you're already clearing a fort, it's worth checking the map inside to see if any hidden treasure markers pop up nearby. Now that you're familiar with the icons on the map, I figured a quick cheat sheet might help you plan your path more easily. It shows each icon, the kind of loot you'll usually find, and a rough idea of how difficult each area is. Ideally, you want to clear as many high difficulty landmarks as possible, like the field bosses, but that only works if your team builds momentum by taking on the easier ones first. And that covers all the major map icons in Elden Ring Nightreign. Hopefully this helps you plan your runs better and be more prepared when the Night Lord appears. Thanks for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.